Hi, this is a video response for Reb64, and she said that she asked, do you dye and spin that yarn yourself? The yarn that I showed you today, except for the pink, all of it is natural yarns, so there's no dyes in those yarns. The pink was dyed, but not by me. It's some yarn, some bamboo fiber that I purchased in 2009, I think. It's been in the bottom of my box, and I dug it out to spin it and get it out of the way. Because even though these fibers last a long time, like anything, they have a lifespan. And some of the fibers will begin to weaken and deteriorate after, so many years go by. And it takes keratin a while to break down, but some of the acrylic fibers, their bonds do begin to weaken, like you knock an old rubber band, and they snap more and break more. And it's just a pain to try and spin those fibers when they start breaking down. So that's why I was getting the oldest things out the bottom of the box, like rotating my fibers around, and to try and go ahead and start getting some of the older things spun up. So that we did not dye, but I've shown videos before of stuff that we have dyed. So me and my husband, we do dye fiber, and we're getting ready to dye some stuff soon. So I'll show you guys videos of that when we get around to doing that. You also asked if I can make a video on how to make those skeins into a yarn ball. Okay. There are a couple of ways you can make your skeins into a yarn ball. One of the less expensive ways is to place your yarn, tension it on the back of a chair. Depends on how wide your skein is to begin with. Most regular chairs, the circumference around them is a yard or a little over a yard. Now, if you have a wide back chair, like a kitchen chair, then the circumference around may be a little bit wider than that. But most skeins you get, commercial skeins you get, once you unravel them, they will fit over the back of a regular kitchen chair. Just make sure the chair doesn't have any of those overhangs, so that it'll trap your skein up there and you won't be able to easily slide it off. You want it to have a straight edge up and down on the sides. Even if it's curved, as long as it's smooth and straight, and you can slide that yarn up off, but not too wide that when you skein your yarn, but you're going to be unskein it to wind it to the ball. But even if you use the back of a chair to skein your yarn, you don't want it to be wider at the top than it is at the bottom, because then your yarn still won't be able to slide off easily. So you want to use a straight back chair. If you're going to use your chair to wind your yarn and to hold your skeins, you want to use a straight back chair. There's a couple of ways you can wind your yarn into a ball. One of the most primitive ways is called a Nostpin, and it's like Nostpin. I call it nasty pin. Nostpinne, something like that. I'll put the correct information in the description box. But for poor man's purposes, you could also use a large knitting needle or a broomstick handle that's broken or something like that as your Nostpin. And let me see if I can find something to show you this on. Okay, I got some left over from the hat. What you want to do with your Nostpin is you want to make sure the end that you can slide your ball off is pointed upward. Okay? What you're going to do is you're going to take your yarn and you're going to lay it along the side of your pin like that. Okay? And then you're going to, well, some people actually make a loop. Just a loop. Regular old loop. And they'll put it around there like that, because you can always take that loop off. That's just to anchor your thread. And then you can hold it up here like this with your finger. And then you are going to come back and you're going to cross over that yarn and like crisscross it and draw it back down towards your original loop, but do not go over your original loop area. So you're just going to go down there and crisscross. Now you're going to wind back up and crisscross over that. Turn, wind back down, and crisscross. Turn, wind back up. I ain't in the video. Wind back up, crisscrossing it. Wind down, crisscrossing it. Wind up. And you would just do this over and over and over again until all your yarn is up here. And what you're doing is making a center pull ball. I know it doesn't look like much now, but that is what you are doing. Now, okay, and once you pull it off, this is your center pull. This is actually this is going to be your little center pull where you put that little loop at. That is your string for your center pull. And so that is how you make a center pull ball using a nospin. And you just keep going until you use up all your yarn, and you're just crisscrossing it, turning, going up and down, crisscrossing. And it's up to you how wide you want your ball to be. And see how it looks a lot like the core of a center pull ball that you may have purchased. So that's one way of making getting your yarn wound up into a center pull ball. I love yarning, and I apologize in advance. Okay, so I think I got enough up there that I can show you what I'm talking about. Alright, so this is like a small center pull ball. Now this is the part where we put the little loop at that was on our needle. You just undo that. Okay, and now you see the string is coming from inside, and you just pull, and that is your center pull ball. So that is one way of winding your yarn into a ball. The other method uses an artificial device called a ball winder. And this one is from Knit Picks. This one I have is a couple of years old, about 3 years old. And this is what it looks like. And you see it has an attachment so you can hold it in your hand and do it, or you can mount it to a flat surface. That way. And on the top it is grooved. So what you want to do is you want to take your yarn. Remember now you have your skein secured on the back of something or on a yarn swift. And if you see behind me, straight ahead, that thing that's standing up, the wooden thing, that is my swift. But I'm not going to use it right now because I would have to move a bunch of stuff around back there. There are videos on YouTube where you can look up yarn swift, and it shows you how to use those. So you see the two grooves on the top. You just want to place your yarn in those grooves with just a little bit hanging over, like that. And I always take mine under. Let me see how it goes like that. Well, I have to do this first. You have this hook thing here, and it's like a swirl. Take it over. See, it went over it and under the straight piece. I'm going to show you again. You see how it looks inside? You're going to put your yarn between that. And you want your yarn pointing over your basically you want it to be pointing towards this. So if this, let's see. Okay, if this was in front like that, you want the short end of your yarn that's going to be going in here, you want it to be pointing towards those grooves. So you go over and under, and now your yarn is up there. Okay. You can also go under. You can also go under and over, like that. But it puts your yarn in between this guide here. Alright. And so now I'm placing the yarn in my two grooves. It's already in the guide. And I got some of it hanging down on the side, because this is going to be where my center pull is at. and you hold it here. And there's an arrow telling you which direction to turn your handle. It's right there. And it tells you which way to turn your handle. So you hold it, and I'm supposed to be spinning in this direction. So you just spin it, and it does the wrapping for you. To make a nice center pull ball. Most of it tangled up on. Okay. So you just spin. And a lot of yarn shops, if you purchase a skein from them, a lot of yarn shops will wind it into a center pull ball for you for free. So that's it. So that's wound up, and so this is the center pull balls you're probably used to seeing, ones that are real nice and neat, like that one. And then you just find your end. And what I would do is my end on the outside, unless I'm going to be knitting two strands, holding two strands at a time, I take a piece of tape and I tape this to keep it in place. My inside string here, just take your finger and lift that off and pull, and then you find your inside string, and then you just gently twist your ball off, and there you have it, a center pull ball. So those are a couple of ways that you can, a commercial way, which would be to purchase one of these, and a low-tech way, which would be to use a large knitting needle, broomstick or mop handle, a large dowel rod that you can get inexpensively from somewhere like Home Depot or Lowe's or somewhere. You can go, you can buy dowel rods of separate different thicknesses. You can get one from there. And those are two easy ways that you can get your yarn rolled into a ball. Now, another way you can do it is you're still using the yarn across the back of a chair. You can just simply place the skein over the back of the chair. I always wind it around 2 fingers to start with, and then I take that off, and then I go around it, and then I just start going around and around and around and around, and actually roll it into a ball, a circular ball. It will not be center pull. It'll be a circular ball, and you just wind it all up into a ball. So I hope that video helps.